Hello, Nick here. I wanted to do a video on synchronous detector for shortwave radios. So after fooling around with a lot of different sync detectors and a lot of different radios and a lot of different signals, I've come to the conclusion that you're kind of chasing after ghosts. You're kind of chasing a jaguar running across the plains and you're running on foot. All right, maybe you get lucky and catch them. Maybe. Okay. So let's start with what a lot of people think is one of the best synchronous detectors of all time. Now, before I turn this on, so this is a Sony 2010. It's in an excellent condition. Now, I doubt it's ever been rebuilt or recapped, and it's got to be at least 20 years old. So, but it still seems to work fine. Now, for an antenna, I just have one of those Sangene long wires just wrapped around the top of the room, okay? And the reason I do this is I have a lot of, outdoor loop antennas and, nice shortwave antennas, but what's the point of handcuffing a portable radio to an antenna that you can't carry around with you, right? I mean, the whole idea of a portable radio is to be portable. So at least a clip-on wire that you could throw up in a tree or something like that. I mean, at least you could throw that in your pocket and then just clip it on and throw it on. All right. So in my mind, a portable radio, testing it with an external outdoor fixed antenna, I mean, yeah, you get good results, but what's the point? All right. I mean, if you're in this hobby, you probably have a base station or more than one. So anyway, so here's this radio. Let's turn it up. I found a kind of a semi-weak signal. 15.140. You can hear there's static. It's on wide bandwidth. I just hit the sync. See the sync upper. Not a lot of difference. I'll turn the sync back on and I'll go to lower. And to get to lower, I just touch the VFO dial down just a smidge. See, the indicator went down to 139, indicate I'm syncing on lower. And the fact that the light's on means I'm synced. The light right there. Upper. Off. Not a whole lot of difference. Narrow bandwidth to me seems to make more difference than the sync does. Now, it could be different on a different station, and it obviously could be different maybe if I had an external antenna hooked up to it. But like I said, what's the point of handcuffing your radio to an immovable object if it's a portable radio? So I was gonna turn this off. I was gonna test all different kinds of syncs for this video. There's equally as good as the Sony 2010. That's a Texan 660. Then I got these Texan 330, 368, 880. This one totally sucks. These two are about the same, which is not as good as the 660, okay? I got this Grundig, I think this is a 700. And I got the new Texan H501. And then over here I got what the Hamrad Tom Styles calls his Big Bertha. That's a satellite 800 with sync. I was going to run all of these. Okay, see, I got the old Sangean, I got the new Sangean. I've tested it on all these, not that the Sangeans have sync, but so the fact that he was doing a video on sync on this got me motivated to try this. And after I turned the Sony 2010 on, I was playing with it, I'm like, you know what? I'm wasting everybody's time and my own turning on all these 10 radios with syncs just to show you that you're chasing ghosts. All right, so let's try sync on a small desktop. Now, this has sync too. That's an ICOM 75. Terrible sync. Sucks. Okay. This is an ICOM 8600. All right. So let's see on the same signal. Oh, I got it hooked up to an external speaker that's amplified to try to improve the signal a little bit. So this is just oh, let me turn noise reduction off. Okay, so same station as the other one. This one is on an MLA loop antenna, the inexpensive loop, which is almost as good as a Wellbrook. Trust me, I know, I've tested them. And it's mounted outdoors, fixed, can't move it around, can't carry it. So this is an unaided signal. So let's put sync on. Listen. To me, it sounds a little better. Let's try. You can sync upper. Watch, see the indicators up here. You can sync upper sideband, lower sideband, or dual, where it syncs both. But to me, the whole idea is if you sync both, that means you're going to bring in the noise that either one of them would bring in. If you sync one or the other, to me, that would give you your best chance of getting the best signal, or reception, I should say. So this is upper. Oh, that turns it off. Upper. Lower. Dual. To me, the upper probably sounds the best, but it's not significantly better than normal AM. Let's try the filter. So we're at 9, it's either 9 or 10 kilohertz bandwidth. Filter 2 would be 6 kilohertz. El Ministerio de Salud Pública de Cuba reportó 1,221 nuevos casos de COVID-19. 3 kilohertz, 9 kilohertz. Let's try 10 dB of attenuation just to get some of that noise out, and then noise reduction. So we can adjust this all the way up. It gets that hiss out, the static, but it makes it sound like they're talking underwater.
Más de 40 personas resultaron heridas tras una fuerte represión ejercida por el escuadrón móvil antidisturbios en el portal de la Resistencia de Bogotá, la capital de Colombia, contra manifestantes pacíficos. Diversas fuentes revelaron que esas fuerzas reprimieron también a defensores de derechos humanos e impidieron la llegada de ambulancias para recoger a los heridos.
So in my opinion, the threshold where you start, if you're coming down, as you're going down, the threshold where you start to hear static is the least amount of synthetic garbledness. And it's kind of a, best of both worlds type thing.
Jordania condenó la continuidad de las agresiones israelíes contra fieles islámicos en la mezquita de Al-Aqsa en Jerusalén Oriental. Dijo el vocero de la Cancillería de Fayez que tales acciones
So the noise reduction seems to do more than the sync. And this ICOM 8600 has a really good sync compared to a lot of other radios you'll see. I mean, there's not a lot of radios that really have sync. Texan puts it on a lot of radios, but it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. So let's try. Let's try another radio. So, I mean, like I said, this is the one that Tom Styles just did a video on. It was no better than the Sony. It wasn't as good as the Sony. And the Sony was like up in the air as to whether it improved it or not. Okay, it didn't really. All right, and the Grundig, man, you got to be an engineer just to figure out how to work that one. Okay, but here is a Watkin Johnson 8711. So I'll give you a wide on it. So I got it set for the same signal. And I can adjust bandwidth, and I can turn the sync on and off. All right, let me zoom in a little bit on this so you can see what I'm doing. Oh, and for the output, I have a speaker connected to the headphone jack up to this amplified BHI speaker made in England. It's a DSP speaker, so it's amplified, so it adds power. And I can turn on the DSP. So when the red dot is on, red light is on, it's just sound, no DSP enhancement. And then if I turn the green dot on, I can turn on the DSP. And we'll try both. So let's... So preamp is off. It's on normal. Right there. Preamp is off. It's on normal. And that's synchronous. Oops, that's the bandwidth. There's normal AM. Let's try the bandwidths.
Venezuela inició una nueva etapa del cronograma para la celebración de las megaelecciones tras la aprobación de las normas especiales del sistema comercial y el cierre del periodo de constitución de nuevas organizaciones políticas.
That sounds pretty good there. So let's try synchronous.
Mediante representación proporcional de acuerdo con los votos obtenidos por cada partido y el resto de forma nominal. Dicha decisión emana de lo establecido en la sentencia del pasado 5 de junio de 2020 emitida por la Sala Constitucional del Tribunal Supremo de Justicia. En tanto, el periodo establecido para la constitución de nuevas organizaciones políticas terminó este sábado, tal como establece el cronograma elaborado por el ente policial. El presidente de Ecuador, Lenín Moreno, cuya gestión
I'm not hearing a lot. I have in the past on different channels or different stations of signals heard this slightly be able to make a slight difference with synchronous on, but never drastic. So let's mess with the DNR, digital noise reduction, or actually they call it DSP, digital signal something, whatever. So the bottom button is the DSP. So if I push it in, it'll turn this green, and then if I rotate it, you'll hear it beep. Higher tone means more DSP, lower tone means less DSP. Let's see where we're at. All right, that's lowest DSP level. It did lower the volume a little. I'll raise it up here. But you'll hear that hiss, a lot of the noise is gone. So let's...
Y hasta aquí las noticias. Fueron titulares en esta emisión. Conmemora Cuba aniversario 58 del inicio oficial de cooperación médica internacional. Realizan este domingo la caravana mundial de
highest level.
Estados Unidos a Cuba. Denuncian no solo terror en Colombia por represión policial.
Now this BHI DSP speaker is not cheap. I think it costs about $200. If you can get a universal radio, or maybe HRO, ham radio outlet. I think that's where I got it. But the DSP on this is better than the DSP on that $2,300 ICOM, okay? This is like penicillin. And they make smaller ones. They make one that's half this size and it's still amplified a little bit. Then they make a really small one that's not amplified and it's like the size of 2 packs of cigarettes or something. About halfway. Let's turn it off. No DSP, straight signal. So, to me, you'd be better off investing in your time in one of these DSP speakers. So, oh, here's the other DSP speakers. So here's the mid-sized one. It's still amplified, so it'll amplify the signal, and it's got DSP. And then here's the really small one. It does no. It's just a straight reproduction of the sound level, no amplification. And they all have adjustments where you can turn the DSP on or off, and then you can change the volume. And so you can use the volume of the radio and the volume in here too. So, but they're all different from each other. So there's 3 of them, and all 3 of them are different from each other. Kind of confusing sometimes. And you have to have a power source. So you have to have a wall wart or some sort of, I can't remember what it is, 9 or volts or something like that. It says it on the back of the unit. But so you have to have power going to the DSP, all of them, even the one that's not amplified. That's what makes the DSP work. So yeah, you can spend all your money and try and get one of these off eBay and not know if it's any good or not, or if it needs to be recapped, or God knows what else, or maybe somebody else tried to fix it once and who knows what's going on inside of it. Or maybe you just get lucky and get one that's like new, but still, which I think this one is, but still the sync is not phenomenal. Sometimes it seems to work okay, but it's not life-changing, trust me. The DSP makes much more of a difference. And then you're seeing the sync on this. I mean, this radio, when it was new, granted it was a long time ago, but that radio was, you could have bought a new car for what that thing cost. And then this radio is brand new, and they still make it and they sell it, and it's like, I don't know, I think it's like $2,300 brand to buy it new. And you heard the DSP, the sync on this one seemed to work a little bit, But was it phenomenal? Yeah, I don't know. It didn't hurt it, but was it phenomenal? I think the noise reduction actually helped more than the sync did. So so my opinion is, don't let whether or not a radio has synchronous detection be the deciding factor whether you buy it or not. Like buying this H501 over the Sangean, okay? You know, the Sangean 909X2, because that one does not have sync. It doesn't make that much difference. Now, there's other features why you'd want to get this one instead of the Sangean, but don't let sync be the one to determine that for you. All right. Thanks for hanging out. Listen to me ramble.